Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And I'm really delighted to welcome Kerry Thomas. And she's owner of Conquer the Chaos. And she's actually taken this uh, background and given her a unique perspective on how learning styles impact organization, time management, and productivity. And, what's interesting is, her company, she saves leaders with ADD from overwhelm by implementing business and life systems to get them and stay organized. So it's going to be a really interesting conversation. So, Carrie, welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I really love your pitch because you have this thing where it's like conquer the chaos, and it kind of reminds me of like decluttering this kind of Marie Kondo type of style. But then you apply that to organization and time management. So talk about this disconnect.
Yeah, so it's interesting because a lot of people know Marie Kondo in the
Yeah.
organizing world, and a lot of people know David Allen in the productivity world. And I work with a lot of people who have tried either one of those methods. And because of either, ADHD or just a difference in how their brain works,
Yeah.
they weren't successful with that, like, the strict guidelines for either one of those. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those methods. They're
Yeah.
wonderful. But just like
Uh,
we don't all do things the same way. We don't all learn things the same way. It's not going to work for some people. So my background is in education, special education, and I have an endorsement in ADD. And so I have a lot of training and a lot of years experience in understanding that some people need to do things a different way.
Yeah. And I love this because and it's interesting because you say it's kind of this idea of like neurodiversity. And so one thing that is talking about is you go with clutter. What should you work on first, internal or external clutter?
Oh my gosh, you went right for a great question.
Yeah.
That is a really good question, and a lot of people ask that. So let me like back up a tiny bit because some people might be saying, "Well, what's clutter? What isn't clutter?" So I'm going to share two definitions really fast. The first one is from one of my great mentors, Barbara Hemphill, and she's also a dear friend, and she defines clutter. She says clutter is postponed decisions. And so if you think about it, everything we're not making a decision on, that can pile up, whether that's internal, our thoughts, our feelings, whether that's, papers on our desk, our email, our garages, whatever it is. And so through my years of experience, I love her definition. I think it's the gold standard. And I took it a little bit further to mean that clutter is anything that is keeping you from navigating your life with ease. So one person's clutter is not necessarily another person's clutter. Some people, when they walk into their office, they can't think unless, they have a clean surface and a zero inbox. Other people, they can't think unless they have their nicely, placed piles where they know where everything is. So with that being said, it doesn't really matter if you start with the external clutter or the internal clutter. So you can start with physical things, the stuff you can see, digital. Digital is a huge problem now, digital clutter. Or you can start with mental clutter or emotional clutter because they both positively impact the other. So I always tell my clients to think of it like a wheel. So we've all experienced it. We clean out a drawer or we get our inbox manageable and you have that, like that relief, right? You feel better, which then gives you that burst of energy. Maybe you're thinking better thoughts, which makes you, feel better and approach your work in a better way. And so then it's easier to organize and it keeps going. And so if you start with internal clutter and you really clean up some of those nagging thoughts or those voices, through different methods that I teach, then you feel better and you might want to clean up your environment, which then leads you to be able to work on yourself even more. So I tell people to start one of two ways. Either start with the biggest thing that is really, really bothering you. And once that's gone, everything else is going to seem easy. It's going to be downhill. Or if, depending upon your personality, again, start with something small where you can get a quick win and you can be like, yes, look at this. I did this. So I tell people, declare a clutter-free zone, whether that's the corner of your desk or your kitchen counter, whatever it is. Just say to you and to everyone you live with, this is clutter-free zone from now on. Clean it up, make it nice, find a home for everything, maintain that, and then watch it grow. So there's one of two ways. You can start with the big stuff, get that over with, or get those quick wins.
Yeah, I love that. And it can apply to also, like for example, student loan debt. There's it, and also credit card debt. Any sort of like consumer type stuff. Kind of, you put it into like the big balances or like the high interest rate just to pull that down.
Right.
And yeah, it's
And
interesting.
finance too, because if you think about it, it weighs on your mind. The life that you're meant to lead, it's always nagging. It
Yeah.
can cause problems. So that is a form of clutter.
Yeah. Yeah, it especially that's why they say debt free and debt and the appropriate use of debt. Oh, my next question is so you talk about like internal external clutter, but you have this think outside the file box and you have learn ideas and specific suggestions for managing storage filing and current projects. Talk about this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you must have seen that on my speaker page. Yeah, so that's one of my more popular topics to talk on.
Mhm.
And it's based around the idea of what I said in the beginning, that everybody learns differently and everybody thinks differently. So there's your main learning styles, which is visual, just very quickly, like you learn best by reading, by seeing. Auditory, you learn best by hearing. Or kinesthetic and tactile, you learn best by like just diving in there and getting your hands dirty and moving and touching. So those just on the surface are the three main learning styles. And it really matters. If you know your learning style, there are some specific things you can do to set up your workspace and set up your projects for success. So without, going into my whole talk, for example, if you are a very visual person, color coding is going to be your friend. Those are the people that really like their color coded digital calendars and things like that. Even in their office, they like, color coding. Big whiteboards where you can see like a year at a glance calendar, that type of thing.
Yeah.
If you do have storage, like clear storage, so you can see what's in it, or some really nice labels, things like that. Lighting is a big one, like a quick fix that very visual people can make. So a mixture, not just really good lighting, but the ability to like turn it up, turn it down, natural light, table lamp, overhead. So little things like that people don't think of that change the way you feel when you're working, which changes your productivity. So for auditory people, you have to find that balance between not being distracted and turning off all your things that ding and chime, and also using those to your advantage. Like auditory people do well if they set reminders and alarms, but you don't want everything dinging at you. Auditory people, there's some science behind it, but just a quick interesting thing is auditory people do well if they set up their office in zones. So like, this is my paper processing area. This is my writing chair. This is, where I keep my supplies, not just everything mixed together. And then kinesthetic people really need to think about the ergonomics of their space. So a good chair, maybe a standing desk or sitting on a yoga ball, or just the texture and like the feel of things. Even their pen matters. So that's my favorite topic, because everybody that comes to that talk, even if they think, oh, I'm organized, I got it all, everything's good, they always hear something and have a takeaway. They're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go try that. So it does matter.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of, because, I can't stand my wife's clutter and she can't stand my clutter, but my clutter makes sense to me because I I know her then but her idea of clutter is different than my clutter. So it's really
Yeah.
interesting how you um
Yeah. I get that question a lot. If I spoke to this one church group one time,
yeah.
and they were mostly older people, answer part, and I felt like I was a marriage counselor. They were like, what about him? What about her? And I mean, the best solution is for everybody to have like their designated space,
Yeah.
either the man cave or she's allowed to have a messy closet or a
Yeah.
lot of compromise.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, which brings me to my next question is taking these concepts, I know and we have I know because we have limited time, but you have a lot of these ways of managing these clutter, but take it in how does this apply to organization, time management and productivity, and especially with business owners and entrepreneurs with ADD and they get overwhelmed. So how does I know you gave a TED talk as well, TEDx talk.
I did. I did. So hopefully we can share the link for anybody who's interested. But when you're talking about more in the productivity world and time management world, just in your office, it's more of a shift mentally. You're not necessarily thinking of clutter as we think of it as, like the stuff. It's helpful to think of the flow of information. So everybody, whether you're a retired person that has mail coming in, or you're a solopreneur, or you're running a multi-million-dollar business, there's information constantly flowing in and out, whether it's mail, email, things people are telling you. And so when I work with businesses, that's mainly where the clutter is. It's in the systems. It's in, the paper and information or the digital information that comes in. Who's in charge of it? How do we disseminate it? How do we save it? And so I'm really good. One of my superpowers is looking at the whole picture and seeing where people either have. Yeah. So we were talking about how when you're looking at for business, no matter what the size of the business, how the most important thing is to look at the flow of information. So we were talking about that. And I said that where I come in, one of my superpowers, I believe I had just said, was either seeing or both seeing the gaps in the systems or the redundancy in the systems. And so I can quickly help people, and you can do this on your own. You don't need a me there. If you make a list of everything you use that's digital, all your apps, all your programs, all your drives, everything that you use, and then make a list of all your physical tools that you use, more paper-based or, like actual physical things. And then look at which ones overlap, or pay attention to your business or your life and the way information flows for a week or two, and see where you're continually getting frustrated and where you feel overwhelmed. Like, I don't have a really good way to, maybe it's your filing system, or maybe that you put things in your computer and you can never find them again, whatever it is. Or maybe you don't have a way to track your mileage, or you have 3 ways to track your mileage. Yeah. So looking at the gaps and the redundancies is really important when you're talking about business organization.
Yeah. The other question I have for you is, and I love this idea. We're going to put the link to the TEDx talk that you gave in 2017 from clutter to clarity. Is how do you know what to keep, what's safe to throw away? How do you get unstuck? And I love your analogy of the flow of information, because I try to like get stuff off. Like I love to put stuff in the shredder, so I want to see it and get it over with and get it done and not have stuff hanging over my head. So what are your thoughts on what's safe to throw away, keep, and getting unstuck?
So are you talking about more physical clutter, like in your life, in your home, or in your business? Because I could go either way with that answer. Which one interests you more?
Oh, I think the internal, like the mental, emotional, spiritual, all that clutter. How do you?
Okay. So the first step with the internal clutter is really awareness. Knowing, we all have it. So denying it isn't going to get you anywhere. So is it, all those voices? Is it stuff bombarding you? Is it the news? Or is it your own thoughts and the own things you're telling yourself? And so I when I work with my clients, we talk a lot about taking ownership. In my TED Talk, I talk about that it's, it's a blessing and a curse that you have the power to change your internal landscape. But the fact that you have the power means that no one's going to come rescue you. There's no victims here. And I give my clients a whole toolkit. So we look at everything. We look, and then they can pick and choose what works for them, what interests them. So we talk about everything from journaling, meditation, tapping, using art for stress relief, using different sounds and tones or scents, different, getting out in nature. There's so many things that you can put into your toolkit to pull from. But the most important thing is being honest with yourself and looking at what you're in control of. Like, we think a lot of times, like, oh, this person, my neighbor, my spouse, the news, we think that they are making us feel a certain way, and they're not. It's all us. It's our thoughts that we're having about what's happening that's making us feel the way we feel. So that's where we start.
I love that. And I know because you alluded to several techniques that people can reach out to you and, get further clarification on. The other kind of, how do you, the best way to contact you, reach you, and, check your workout and work with you?
Sure. So I have my website, which is conquerthechaos.com. I also have a smaller page that has a quick quiz to get your productivity score. And it also has a download to, it's about 10 ways to get unstuck. Those are on my main webpage, but if you want just those two things, that is cluttertoclaritysteps.com. So you can go to one of those two places. My TED Talk is on my website, conquerthechaos.com. And there's different ways to get in touch with me there. And yeah. I also have a Facebook group that I love that I started in January of 2020. And we look at all the types of clutter, because I think that's what separates me is I have this training in the business side of things, but I really am passionate about the other because I know what it can do for your life. So in the Facebook group, we look at all of it, and that is called Less Clutter, More Peace.
I love that. I love that. And for all the audience out there, let's thank for coming on to the show, and be sure to check out again her TEDx talk and all of her resources. Give her socials a like and follow. Like I said, I've always been interested in decluttering and this concept, and thanks so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me.